This coming week will be the 5th annual Cincinnati Festival of Faiths, and here to tell us a little bit more about that. First, Penny Pensak, she is one of the co-chairs of the event. Also, Mollie Newman is joining us. First, Penny, thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure. It's always a real privilege to talk about the Festival of Faiths.
So before we start talking about this year's event, let's talk about how this got started. What is the genesis of the Festival of Faith?
Yeah, the Festival of Faiths is an outgrowth actually of an organization that existed many years ago in Cincinnati and nationally called the National Conference of Christians and Jews. An organization that was founded with the understanding that the more dialogue we have between us, the more we understand each other, the better world we can create for the people around us. Eventually, National Conference of Christians and Jews morphed into something locally called Bridges. When Bridges no longer existed as a bridge, an interfaith bridge, there was an organization called the Trialogue, and that was a conversation amongst Christian Jews and Muslims. So actually, the Festival of Faiths is a result of these conversations that had been taking part amongst this trialogue that later became a program, an organization called Equation. That's the background. That's the group of people that were involved. There have been festivals of faiths in some of our sister cities, Louisville, Indianapolis, for years and years and years. Some of the folks locally knew about that, went and looked, and really felt there was a need in Cincinnati to replicate some of the things that they saw in these other cities. So that was the Festival of Faith is one of the programs of Equation, and it's one vehicle that we use to bring people of different faiths together as I said, to begin to understand each other, work together towards a better world.
And I mentioned it is going to be a week-long festival, and you're doing both in person and online. So even if you're not here in the area, you can still participate.
Correct. And with something, every once in a while, good things happen from not very good situations. When COVID hit and we could no longer have an in-person festival, we morphed. And we took all of the non-typical festival kind of activities, the ones that had more content, learning about other religions, actual real content, talking to each other in storytelling formats, talking about what the effect of advocacy, what kind of effect could people of faith have in advocacy. We realized that all of those work really well virtually. And like you said, they enable people from all over to be part of it. And that's funny, I'm here in Colorado, and I shared all our information about what we do in Cincinnati with a friend of mine who's very involved in a church here in Steamboat Springs. Their church has members who are part of our Festival of Faith because we have all these virtual activities. So what we realized was sustaining that type of programming virtually, even if we could meet again, had a real value. So we'll come together again for the wonderful fun parts, for a chance to have exhibitors of 60 different religions there in person, for us to have an opportunity to see singing and dancing and the gala kind of pieces that make us feel good when we're together. But the other pieces, they worked really well online, and we're going to keep that hybrid model as long as we can.
You're right. Sometimes good things do come out of bad situations, and learning how to do things virtually certainly is one of those things. But you touched on kind of the finale that's going to happen on August 7th at Cintas Center. But leading up to that, the week before we get to that, what are some of the activities that people can watch, take part in, whether in person or virtually?
Yeah, so for instance, some of the programming is really an opportunity to learn about other religions. And so what we've done in other years is focus on wedding ceremonies or death ceremony or ceremonies around death. Each year we pick a different focus of where we can really explore where our customs are similar and where our customs might vary across religions.
Yeah, no, we've got spiritual meditations about based on different religions each time. So there's 3 different spiritual meditations. There's compassionate conversations, which again, we're going to bring people together talking about how spirituality and faith has been important to them in their lives, and just how that connects with other people in that sense. There's also a social action component, and there is the I think the social action component is focusing on voting and really helping get the vote out. And then there's also the youth event, which is about joy and celebrating joy across all different religions. And there's the One America event, which is a movement that we're kind of partnering with. And then there's also like the Faith Communities Go Green, so we're going to be focusing on a couple earth-centric events as well.
And I just wanted to point out, Betsy, that we're very careful when we have sessions like voting, that we're not endorsing any candidates. We're really living within the guidelines of what separation of church and state looks like. And we're encouraging people to vote as a civic responsibility, but we're certainly not encouraging voting for any candidate in particular. And when we do our advocacy work, and we've done this as part of the festival now for 5 years, we are always really careful to talk about things that are not supportive of any candidate. But how can we be, as people of faith, how can we be engaged in making this world a better place? That's a lot of where the Go Green work that we're involved in comes from. But I just wanted to make sure that was really clear.
Right. And as I said, the finale is going to be at Cintas Center. There's going to be food, there's going to be activities for kids and for adults. I mean, this is really the showcase, the culmination of everything that we've been talking about, you've been talking about leading up.
Yeah, it is. And I think that after 2 years of COVID and not being able to meet in person, it's really hard to even put into words what it looks like when people come together in this kind of a venue, when they have a chance to touch each other, when they have a chance to learn about each other. And if there's clothing that's reflective of a certain culture, that's what people are wearing, and they're sharing it. And there's something that's just, it's visceral. It's really a visceral feeling. And I think this year people will be especially grateful as we put our tiptoes into coming back together again to have that opportunity. For us within the festival, it's a bit bittersweet, because one of our fellow co-chairs from the Sikh community, a very, 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 very special young man, you got near him and you felt better, passed away this year. So our festival is in his memory, in his honor. The Sikh community is continuing the work that he began. They will be very visible. Again, they will be, cooking is very important to their culture, sharing food. And Cintas has permitted us for them to be able to set up outside in the parking lot and have food available. This was something that was very important to J. Paul, and we're just really grateful that we'll be able to continue that tradition. But yeah, it's a little bit, to those of us who have been involved a while, there's no question that this is bittersweet having this festival without J. Paul and his spirit, but his spirit will be there with us.
Sure. As we mentioned, this is free. This is open to the public. If people want to find out more about it, where do they go?
They should go to www.cincinnati.festivaloffaiths.org, and that'll take you right to the festival information. They can also go to equation.org, which is EQUASION, equation.org, and that's the parent organization that runs the festival.
All right, well, it will be a week of a lot of learning, a lot of celebration. And again, it's an opportunity for us to learn more about each other. And isn't that what we all need right now? Penny, thank you so much for being with us. Molly, thank you for being with us, telling us more about the 5th Annual Cincinnati Festival of Faiths. Thank you so much.